It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap it up for this series of interviews with my Impact friends, and I want to spend some time with their new Chief Revenue Officer, you're Chief Sales Officer.
Yeah, I'm a sales guy. So
what's the difference between the revenue? You can see a lot of people putting the revenue thing
So
out
the
there.
revenue should only be when you also have marketing.
Okay.
Marketing kind of ties in all go to market. So
Okay.
chief sales is going to be all of business development, new accounts, existing accounts, the pre-sales functions, all that. It kind of falls under sales. So when marketing's carved out, I think it makes sense to call it chief sales.
Okay, I do too, because then it's all about sales anyway, right?
Everything is about sales, Ray. Everything's about sales.
Why do we got to be so crazy with some of these titles anymore? Kind of in their own right. So you've been here for a really short time.
Yep.
You've probably did some kind of whirlwind tour and met with all the different sales leaders in the company.
100%.
So what do you think, from your first assessment, what do you think is the biggest attribute that the team has going forward? And then I'm going to ask you, what do you think their weakest point is?
You got it. No, so the biggest attribute was incredibly easy to identify. Our ability to create new customer engagements, net new customer engagements, is second to none. There's nobody else doing what we're doing at size and scale. So for me, that organic building, and frankly, it's the reason it is because of the culture here. We still are a pick up the phones, knock on the doors culture. The kind of send an email campaign or a whole blast of things and just hoping that people are going to open their email. They don't. Spoiler, right? That doesn't exist here. This is people talking to people. It's phenomenal.
Well, the old is forever new. I started the print business almost 35 years ago. Where we threw a machine in the back of a van and went out and sold them. But there was we didn't even have computers in those days. It was we used to debolt files, crazy stuff.
Those stone tablets are hard to kind of
but today it is. I think we've tried to automate that relationship building part too much,
way too much.
And the thing that makes, I guess, Impact unique, if you look at the print business, that's its own animal. So I kind of want to pull it out of a bucket a little bit, because there is a lot of those tactics that you could use that you were using, 35, 40 years ago. But I think it really evolved into the intellect to make the appointments, because now it's really about getting an appointment to really sell an assessment. Am I right about that, outside of the print space?
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, there's a step in between, which is just a minor nuance, but you're spot on with how it goes. Is that you need to get face to face to understand what they're experiencing, and based on what they're experiencing is going to kind of shape which customer journey they go down. And our customer journeys get kicked off, like what you said, like with the different assessments, and depending what the client needs or wants, we're able to tailor and just choose. I almost kind of think that. It's kind of a crude analogy, but just like Lego blocks, we can kind of glop things on. So whether it's we have 3 different tiers of cybersecurity assessments. We have a variety of tiers and different depths and understandings in our managed IT assessments. Managed marketing, the same thing. Print, the whole gamut. Now, the addition of the AI team, there's so much we can do. So for us, you got to get in person and you got to listen. And all we're focused on right now is really listening with empathy. Because our job in what we do is to take those burdens off the customer and assume them. Let them do their jobs. We'll run their back office. We'll run their IT. We'll run their operations. Let them focus on what they're passionate about.
How do you manage the force? I mean, obviously, you have sales managers that can do the everyday kind of stuff, and you're managing the managers, if you will, or managing the vice presidents, if you will. But what are some of the accountability metrics that you're using today on the sales force that might be different or have some nuance to it from years ago?
It's a great question, because everything I'm going to say to you is the stuff we used to do. Okay. But I think that's the big thing, right? I think everyone's kind of talked so much about being like a data-led organization, and so they're focusing on the numbers, not on the customer. So the only thing that matters to me is, everyone has their own KPI that rolls up into my key metric, and so from the SDRs, I'm focused on how many appointments are you setting. How many of those are with the right decision makers? Once those get handed off, now those are those are business development. Then you have how much of those appointments are being accepted by the sales team. Can the sales team convert those into second, third, more discovery meetings? That's really where my listening goes, because what I'm focused on is getting our sales journeys to begin. Because once they begin, the way that we're able to care for our clients and kind of lead them on their hero's journey path, that's the secret to our success. The hardest thing everyone's trying to do, and you're seeing this in a lot of longer in the tooth organizations who are kind of lost that will. You're seeing a lot of the M&A roll-ups, not because inorganic or acquisition growth is better growth. It's the only growth they know how to do, and impact. Again, privately held, family owned. That is an engine we don't need. We have a phenomenal team here.
Well, it's amazing because, if you look at the print space, there's some organizations out there that are, $300 million print companies, but most of their new customers are really not new.
Yeah.
They're just, they just keep repeating. If you look at Impact's managed services business or cybersecurity business, they're not old enough for you to go out and mine your own customer base. There's no upgrade path there.
Yeah.
So you really have to have net new. And I think that's the big deal, if you will, here. And I think the fact that you're selling assessments is just another revenue driver before you sell the hardware, before you sell the services.
Yeah, it's the revenue driver is nice, but it's not the revenue that matters, right? What we're looking for, and you kind of you value what you buy, right? There's a lot of like fitness apps or kind of education or learning apps that don't have any investment to it, and you don't value them, right? Whereas if you sign up for a $300 master class of sorts, it brings a little bit more to it. Number one, the content is way better, but also you have a little bit more of a commitment to it. So for us, when we go through these assessment processes, because the demand for us is so high right now, we do need to kind of have a hurdle for our clients to show their interest. Is this a real conversation? Is this real? Or are we a stalking horse for your current team, your current way of doing things? We want serious business people who are serious about their business, and that's a phenomenal way for us to not only do a great job and teach them about their business, but also for us to get a little understanding of what their commitment is.
How has the closing ratio changed over the time from the assessments? You go out there and do the assessment, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to adapt to the solution. They just pay, and that was always the benefit of selling an assessment, and that should be what they bought.
Yeah.
And you should give that to them not as a proposal, but that is an assessment. If they don't want to do business with you, or you might elect as a company, they're not really the right fit for Impact. But at least they have the information that they go down the road, and if they want to go to a competitor, it doesn't really matter. They pay you for the assessment. But how many of those assessments that are paid for actually result in the end game?
So I can't say all of them, but the vast majority of them. And one of the huge advantages we have in that's different than print, is that some of our assessments are actually required for their cybersecurity insurance, for their HIPAA renewals. So they are getting a value exchange from this. They are learning about themselves, but they're also being validated that how they're doing things is or is not working. There's really only two ways to provide IT services to your organization. Build your own IT company in-house, or let an expert do it. And so the assessment process gives us an incredibly clean kind of foundation for us to start wherever that new relationship is going to be, or for them to actually value their own team against what we may be possible.
And you've all clearly defined the persona of the end user. You also clearly define the stack that you're selling. And I think a lot of people are out there throwing things at the wall, and they're going into the customers. All the end users have different personas, and it's never going to work. You can't do that. So how are you able to drive revenue on the assessments? Because Steve, you keep saying it's not about the revenue, but my thinking is if we know we're going to close most of the assessments, put it that way, and I think because you have 150 salespeople, you're not going to close every assessment, but that's not a bad thing because you collected a bunch of revenue, and during the process, you've also got a lot of education. And with AI, even the people that didn't buy, as you start putting those assessments into your database and you really start understanding that, it's going to help you even more in the marketplace. But do the reps, like, on the print side, it's a quota, how many machines you're going to sell, or what's the total hardware you're going to bring us in the next quarter or the next month, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Do you do that kind of thing for the assessments?
We definitely count the assessment. So as I was kind of giving you the early metrics on how we walk through the cycle, and each stage in our process has a different stage gate to qualify to the next. And so counting assessments is a huge deal for us. You're making me think that we're undercharging for our assessments, since I don't really, we don't see it as a major revenue generator for us, but it's definitely an incredibly important stage gate for us to get through.
So when I was talking with Mike, he mentioned that there was a lot of people were on hold. Let's see what happens. They're watching the economy and all that. But he had a big pipeline of assessments, and my comment to him was, well, that's great because you sold all that. So a lot of people have stuff on hold, but they gave away all the damn intellect, so they got nothing for it.
And you're 100% correct in that, 100% correct. So we're seeing two things, right? Obviously, we're seeing that those early discoveries are now picking up steam. Fourth quarter is, it's going to be wild. Fourth quarter is going to be wild. So we should have an incredibly robust fourth quarter. But I think that probably has two things. One, to your point of the assessments that we've been doing, but also I think we're starting to get some clarity in the marketplace for how to take action, right? The first 100 days are over of the new presidency, and we're kind of entering into year two, and things are slowing down. There's a clear drive, from what we can tell, to really reinvest in America and support the American entrepreneur. Those are our kind of businesses, right? We're not doing the global, the Fortune 100. We're doing those smart, strong, mid-sized U.S. organizations that operate here, work here, and they need help here.
Do your reps have certain verticals that they try to stick with, or do they kind of go all over the gamut?
As an organization, we go over the gamut. However, each marketplace definitely has their nuance of customers. Okay. So the folks down in Houston and Austin and San Antonio, they're going to have a customer profile that's much more similar than the clients up in Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, that neck of the woods. So how we're focusing on it is we want to work with clients who are of similar industry, similar pains, similar understanding. What we are finding is that because we have these different regional presences, each region is developing their own area of expertise. And so what's been nice about the national model is that we're able to have these different areas of expertise and of domain knowledge that all get centralized back to our sales enablement team, which is another phenomenal resource that Impact has, which you're not going to see in the marketplace like we have.
Well, it's all about delivering that great experience.
Yep.
And Impact's always delivered a really good experience for the internal customers. I mean, it's the old, what is it, work hard, play hard, but they've always done that with their internal people.
Yeah.
And that does transition into the marketplace for sure.
Oh, yeah.
No matter where you are in the country, it's one team kind of thing, which is always exciting. How is it coming to Impact with the different leadership levels? Like you got Patrick heading up the IT.
Yeah.
And, I just talked to Rob in the AI space and all that. How is that different from what you've done in the past?
Well, a few things. It's coming to Impact for me has been incredibly familiar. So my first boss ever was Tom Peters.
Okay.
So I started selling copiers downtown Chicago, 25 years ago. I only had 3 blocks of territory and had the greatest experience. There's a little bit of I was raised in this organization because that's how I was trained. Now I've gone off and done other things and I've had a chance to come back to the group, which has been an absolute privilege. But at the scale we are is very familiar to what I'm used to. So I come from the enterprise, I come from large organizations, and in order to have a sales force as large as we are, you have to have decentralized command where the people in the field feel empowered and enabled. What they do need, though, they need subject matter experts at the national level that they can call back to. Again, a huge advantage that Impact brings. We have the scale to hire those. I mean, you've been over to DOT, you've seen our facilities. I mean, the smartest minds in IT, they want to come work here. And so that's how we're able to pull from it. So that's a very similar model to even companies as large as Microsoft and Cisco and Palo Alto. They also support their field reps with subject matter expertise in the same way that we can, that really no one else at scale can do like we can.
Well, I talked to Cynthia, we were talking about the human capital component, and she can't be an expert in all these different fields, and how do they find people and stuff. How do you work with the recruitment, or what are you looking for as a leader of a company like Impact?
Yeah.
Let's start with, obviously you're going to need managers and vice presidents and all that, but what are you looking for up and down the street account executive?
So what we're looking for is someone who's led deal teams before. So we call them deal runners, right? Who understands how are you going to orchestrate a complicated customer deal, but just as complicated internally, right? I think that's one of the big changes that that a print company moving to an IT services space really has to experience, is that your salesperson is not doing the, you know, the hunting, the recruiting, the onboarding, the farming of the account. You really have to operate as a small unit where you have network experts, help desk experts, AI, cyber. So they have to have that team. It's not easy to do, but you're looking for sales reps who've had experience doing that, who's been the leader of the team, not just on the team, but actually the person who's been herding the cats. That's the experience I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to be able to tell that story, lead the internal teams, show the excitement there, but then also communicate to the customer that we're one group. So while we have a vast, fields of expertise coming together on their behalf, we are delivering one message, one communication. And then the other thing I'm looking for is someone who speaks in business language. So one from Patrick and Ray and our solution architect teams, incredibly strong, very technical. These decisions are not based upon feeds and speeds or price. They're based upon what's the impact to my business. And if you're going to have that conversation, it's a numbers conversation. How are you doing it today? What are you going to do tomorrow? Is that going to reduce my cost, contain my cost, mitigate my risk, future-proof the business? Like, those are the conversations our frontline salespeople need to be able to have with, not just mid-level IT people, business owners. This is a strategy conversation. So those are the attributes I'm looking for in killer deal runners.
Are you doing any kind of training with the base that's here now to try to get that acumen up?
100%. Impact has, Impact Learning Institute, the university we have here
amazing.
within our four walls is phenomenal. We are definitely upskilling our teams because no matter how great of a salesperson you hire, they've never worked here. So they may have been doing the exact same thing at a different company, but you need to teach them how to be here. So for me, our existing employees are the most important people I'm recruiting. I'm internally recruiting them and building them up and leading them into something, because if you've been here for 12 or 14 years, you're very, very good at what we do. All I need, it's a very small upgrade. We just need to kind of teach them, here's what the marketplace is asking for, here's how the clients want to be spoken to, and here's what we can do. So through the Learning Institute, through field sales enablements, we are moving at an incredibly fast pace to get our existing teams up to speed.
Well, it's, we're going from product to services.
Yeah.
Some people still sell products and call them services. I had that discussion.
There's products in the services, it all comes together.
Just not as much as it used to be.
Yeah, no.
But we really are selling intellect, and I think I've said that in every interview I've done here, but most of the industry gives away intellect for infrastructure, which is nuts to me.
Yeah.
And if you could figure out a way to have that team have the skill sets to go into the marketplace and have C-levels appreciate their exploration of the guy's company or the gal's company.
Yeah.
And then you can bring him some real solutions to help him solve real damn problems. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting scenario because you're really selling the services of the whole company. It's not really you're selling this widget, or even if you're selling an AI assessment and you're going to go in there and do digital transformation for the whole company, it might lead into all these other things, but it all boils down to the fact that you've got that C-level suite to buy in to the package.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people haven't defined the damn package.
No, defining the package, I think, you're definitely right, is definitely a hard thing to do. But also being able to articulate the interconnectedness of all those offerings. This AI boom everyone's blown away by it. But what are they most concerned about? They're most concerned about, we don't have the power. We don't have the infrastructure to drive what is possible with AI. That's like the macro idea. Think about it on the micro, inside the organizations. Unless you have the proper security protocols, the proper networking infrastructure, the IT infrastructure, the IT support and help, the training, the education, you can buy the most expensive tools on the planet, but unless it has something to run and operate on, you're dead in the water.
Yep.
So again, I'm sure not everyone is as excited to be as in managed services as I am, but this is where I belong. This is phenomenal because I so appreciate that foundational layer that we have, and then understanding those different business impact towers that we can put on top of our stack to give them that value they want. That's the only way these CEOs and the C-suite are going to care, is if we solve their problems.
Yeah, because we talked a little earlier, but I think a lot of the managed services, and that's defined so many damn different ways. But these lower end contracts that Impact's always avoided, and that they should have avoided them. No one's going to buy Intellect if they're only going to pay $3,000 a month for IT. But when you go upstream into the marketplace, and you have the ability to take that customer through the whole journey for all of their technology, all of their marketing. I mean, it's by the way, they might buy some printers from you.
Yeah. Not opposed to that. Not opposed to that. Those all count towards the number.
Well, it is, but it's a different world, and I just don't think people put enough. And that's why I like to talk to the Impact team, just really to share with the broader community that first of all, you have to make a damn investment.
Yeah.
And you have to bring in quality people, and that's not cheap. And then you have to, not only that, when you bring in quality people, they have to have quality tools. And even at the AE level, you can hire a brand new rep, and these brand new reps that are in their late 20s and early 30s played with technology.
Oh yeah.
That's more sophisticated than a lot of companies they go work for.
Oh yeah.
They go into these environments and are like, what in the hell are you asking me to do?
Yeah.
And so I think that you already won, because when they come here, they do have all the tools.
And Ray, back in our day, we always, my first BlackBerry was given to me by my company. I sure couldn't afford one, We've kind of flipped where organizations used to have the best technology, and now the consumers do. And so to your point, our new hires, our people who are earlier in their career, they know no other way. And so what's been kind of interesting about looking and reviewing our learning curriculum that we have when we onboard a new employee, taking them through not just that process, but all the fundamentals of prospecting, fundamentals of discovery, assessment alignments. Like, we walk them through all those different programs, which were expertly built and deployed, knowing that they have the technology understanding to take those on and communicate to a business leader in that fashion is fantastic. We just have to add up a little bit of the kind of the return on the investment clients are going to get, and it's unstoppable.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. You still see the sales, I call them the sales gurus, probably should have retired, but you got these salespeople out there that are still teaching sales processes based on inadequate technology or yesterday's technology. How the hell do you teach sales process based on yesterday's technology? So they're forgetting about the fact that we need all this new technology, and that should take precedence, because that's all about
Well, one of the things that attracted me to Impact was our technology stack. I mean, we have everything from all the SDR reach out tools, whether it's power dialers, campaign logs, sales loft, 6 Sense, state of the art CRM. All the we to your point, we eat our own dog food with all the AI tools. How we're call recording, call coaching. What used to have someone kind of giving a script and kind of listening in on phone calls and just being very one-to-one, we can now do at scale and at power with BI tools that are going to give us each rep a score for how they did and suggestions of how they can be different. Right now, the tool keeps telling us that you're too wordy, which apparently it's monitoring salespeople, so we might be a little wordy.
Yeah.
But it is it's been phenomenal to be here.
Well, I think the one thing about AI technology or technology creating content, I'm not a big fan of using AI to create content around thought leadership. I think thought leadership needs to be from a human's brain. And we see, and you can always tell because you see the dashes.
Yeah.
When they post the article.
There are a few gives.
You got some folks out there that all of a sudden are publishing all these articles, and I'm like, okay, the guy never published a thing in his life, and all of a sudden he's publishing all this stuff, and you see all the dashes. But I mean, we still need to have the experiences that only a human could have to go into that content. And of course, AI takes content from all the thought leaders, so that's kind of where I get a little mad at them. But a lot of the stuff they might be finding is coming from all the content I put out there. But as long as the team understands that they need to use the technology and not be threatened by it, and kind of wrap it up with that, do you have a lot of the team, first of all, they're threatened by you because you're a new person, whether you agree with it or not, you're the new person, so there's an automatic...
Dude, I'm Tom's first employee, man.
But I
just haven't to work somewhere else for 25 years.
There's just, a lot of these guys don't know you. They're like, oh, what the hell's this guy going to do?
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of that, and then we have massive technology changes. I mean, even before AI, they're doing all this other stuff with Halo and all this other stuff. So how are the reps right now? How are you managing that, hey, look, everything's going to be okay, or do you even have to?
So I don't have to.
Okay.
They're all incredibly fired up. one of the things that I think that they've appreciated about me is that I'm able to kind of give them a perspective from the outside of here's what's amazing about Impact. One of the actual challenges we have is reminding employees who've not been somewhere else how good it is here.
Yeah.
You've seen other things. You know how good it is here. You can tell us how good it is here. No one does 2 sales trips a year. No one has the stack rankings, the awards, the compensation plans, the technology stack, the 1-to-1 SDR to AE ratio. I mean, the amount of things that we have going for us here are spectacular. So my job is super easy. All I have to do is make this the best job our account executives have ever had. If the frontline people have an amazing experience, our customers are going to have an amazing experience, and then we will continue to see the money pour in as it has been. So my focus, and when I've really worked hard to befriend and really understand what it's like to sell here. So if I can understand that, if I can bring clarity to their role, bring ease in process, ease in communication, add a little outside insights, it's going phenomenally well. So I think we've always been an excited organization, but I think that we are on the cusp of something that is truly unbelievable. And a lot of it has to do, though, Ray, you're right on this. A lot of this has to do with the ability for AI to do content generation or thought generation, because our clients, they could never afford McKinsey or Bain or like the big fancy guys, right? Who are going to give you a 300-page report on how you need to be better. Well, now they can do that. They can get that information. But where they are stopped is that here's the plan. Now I need somebody to do it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We execute on that plan. So we anticipate that there is going to be a return to the office, a return to work. We don't see AI cannibalizing jobs because we think that you're going to need more execution feet, execution hands, and you're going to want to outsource and look to the best people in the business to do it. So we're really pumped about this market moment.
Yeah, AI is just going to generate time, I think, especially in the sales side. It's going to generate lots of time for these folks.
Yeah.
That they can focus on doing what they're supposed to be doing. Generating activity so that we can get to the revenue part.
100%. 100%.
Well, it's exciting talking with you, and I'm looking forward to watching you, grow and develop this whole team at Impact. And
it's gonna be great.
What you do on your own here, and it's going to be exciting stuff. And it is good times. To be in. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I appreciate the candor in which you have these interviews, right? I think that you ask, you don't prepare us at all for these things, which is questionably appreciated, right? But
I can't do that because I'm not that organized, and I got to try to remember what I told them.
But they're so organic and they're honest, right? And I think that's what's really appreciated. And so I was interviewing a candidate 2 days ago in Southern California, and they were referring to the fact of like, hey, I really like how your CEO thinks. I saw the interview with Ray.
Oh,
and yeah, totally. And so
I'm a recruitment tool. I didn't even know it.
Well, it's number one, we're on point and we're on message. But I think that the forums like this really kind of, for me, double down on the human nature of our business and our ability to connect and be relatable and listen to people. And I can't thank you enough for what you do.
Well, I appreciate that because you know what? Everybody knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck there.